Good morning, it's 10 a.m. on Friday, January 12th, 2024. I call this meeting of the Wichita County Commissioners Court to order. Let's jump in and get to item number 1, which is discussions on a potential U.S. Marshal contract with the LEC. Chief, you mind coming up and talking about where things have been and where things are and where things are going?
Just real briefly, yeah, because we're still in the process of the paperwork. So we started it, and we've now restarted it with the 2024 budget numbers. She's moving forward. I think she sent some questions. to
I
somebody.
haven't seen anything.
She sent an email to
This is
Mike
easy.
the other day,
Okay.
and then he replied, and then she sent some other questions back.
Okay.
So I don't know where that stands at. Last month, I think we only had like 6 inmates that were actually federal inmates. Those numbers kind of dip and go, and one time we had 50. I always had 50, but as
That
we
was
started-
prior to 2021.
prior to 2020, 2021, yeah, and then after that, it's slowly been downfall. But it's not on us; it's all the jails that house for federal inmates. That federal's just not holding them,
Okay.
and even the feds in Fort Worth they're just releasing them. So
Chief, I know you talked about this before, but typically the inmates that we get on those contracts, is it immigration related? Is it something
it's
else?
charges,
Okay.
it's federal charges.
Okay.
So they've had their arraignment, and then they would go to wherever they're going to be housed at until court time, and usually they try to house them back to where they came from. So, they've moved the marshals out of here, so we don't have marshal service here anymore, and we just don't have. They're not real active right here.
Has closing that federal court here changed the volume that would?
I think so, because when they closed the court, they closed the marshals, so all we have here is the FBI.
Yeah, that was, they took everything,
Yeah.
didn't they? Okay.
So even if they do make their arrest in this region, they all go to Fort Worth to be arraigned. So then from there, it depends where they go.
Well, at one time, weren't we talking about an expanded role? Is this the same thing that we had discussed when the LEC was coming online?
We have expanded a little bit to where they would use us as a hub to transport when they're coming from South Texas up to Oklahoma to facilities. They would drop them here, and we would make that next leg to Oklahoma. But I think we've only seen a handful of inmates on that deal because, again, they're just not housing them.
Right.
So
Well, we were actually talking about maybe repurposing some of the old facility.
now that was prior to 2021. Yes, the old annex.
But that was the discussion.
Yeah, that was the discussion,
Yeah,
because
okay.
they actually came up here and looked at the annex jail,
Right.
and then the 2020 elections changed things.
Now things have changed.
Yeah.
It does cycle somewhat based on who's in office?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, it will. So,
And so right now, we are operating under the current
Real quick.
contract still has $56 for the
$56. That was that was a 2016 and 2017 contract. Prior to that, we were working off a 1992-ish contract.
56.
Well, we're making the renewal window smaller.
Make it smaller, yes. So,
Okay.
and on their contract, as you go down through there, when you get to a point, you got to fill in that line. You can't jump ahead and see what's next. Questions.
And I think you had mentioned previously, it's not a